All right, we're going to try this again, this time with audio. We got a new idea for a stream, for a live stream weekly.
Yeah, we'll just do a weekly glimpse at each other's company.
So shall we show them our theme song once again?
Yes, play the song. Now we have some audio.
Recorded at Whalen's apartment with an iPhone. Remixed.
Nice draft.
So the name of the show is the Astro Yogi Super Gossip Hour with Whalen Belding and Victor Carroll. Whalen Belding is my friend. He's a great yogi. So what's your idea for what we're going to do?
Well, just every so often, once a week or so, just get together and talk and share about everything that's going on in the world and life, and
how is it going to be gossipy?
Gossipy because we'll have no holds barred.
Yeah.
In our range and our relaxed nature in which we approach everything without taking anything too seriously, right? Like life should be.
Yeah.
Nah?
All right, great.
Serious with an edge of playfulness and joy.
I'm down with that. I hope you guys like that.
Cool.
So you want to kick it off?
Well, yeah. So like I always think when I'm walking, first thing I usually do is I look up. And in this case, with the astro part of our thing, you happen to be an astro boy yourself, looking at the stars. Uh-huh. So when I look up, I see the stars, and what do the stars tell me in this time? What do they tell me in this time?
Like what's going on right now?
Yeah, just life in general.
Well, the big deal right now is Saturn is with Rahu. Saturn's with Ketu in Capricorn, and Mars is with Rahu in Cancer. So what does that make any sense to you?
I don't know. Like, I'm not as otaku or like as deep into all of the details as you may be. Maybe there's many of you guys out there like me.
I'm going to have to ask you a yoga question too.
That's true. Okay. I can say for sure Saturn, what I think about Saturn is I think of it's like it's a big restrictive force in some ways, but it's also a great teacher.
Right.
I always think of the judge in like a courtroom. And wearing all black, because also Saturn's color is black, right?
Right.
This is why the Jewish people also on Saturn's Day, they wear black, and they do their celebration at the same time, right? So I think about this when I think of Saturn. So you said Saturn is what?
What do you think of Ketu?
Ketu is what? That's the tail of the dragon, right? That's where we've been.
Right.
In our past life, or in our past before we got to now, or maybe our aim last time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a popular understanding of Ketu, which is kind of very, very narrow.
Yeah. So open it up for me.
Better version of Ketu is down, in, back is in there also. But everybody just focuses on the back. It's down, in.
So internal life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or lesser reduction is Ketu.
So Saturn is being controlled by the internal life.
Good. That's a positive slant on this, right?
Yeah.
And that positive slant works in astrological classics where they say, for example, something really weird. That Ketu and Saturn together is beautiful. Because Saturn is ugly.
Saturn is ugly, yeah.
But if it's with Ketu, the ugliness gets like kind of sucked down or withdrawn. So that's something that can be happening at this time. People can be getting more beautiful.
Like a magnet and iron filings, yeah? Like reprogramming the magnetic force of the
Ketu
cosmos.
is the magnet.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
Yeah. And also the thing is that they're in Capricorn. So
Capricorn. You always tell me Capricorn's like the hard worker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the goat.
Right.
The goat on the mountain.
Yes.
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah.
That's Saturn's home.
Yeah.
Saturn's home. This hopefully that this it's very long. It's like a year-long transit. Hopefully Saturn in Capricorn has some good things to do for people. But a lot of it is just Saturn is never pretty. I mean, Saturn with Ketu is pretty, but Saturn is never like rosy.
Never attractive, really?
It's not like the guy that you invite to your parties.
It's like Kalima.
Yeah.
Fierce and destructive.
Fierce and destructive. So a lot of what's going to be happening is like, take for example, the idea of beautification. Well, a lot of times that's like removing a mole or getting rid of zits or
reprogramming of your health.
So you got to like isolate what needs to be reprogrammed. So that's not always the nicest thing, realizing where you're ugly or realizing where you're off or wrong or have exaggerated or extended yourself too much.
Right.
That's a big theme right now. But in this like particular week that we're in now, where we got Mars and Cancer on the other side.
So Mars is like war god, power hungry, passion, energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he's in Cancer.
He's in Cancer. Cancer's like the home.
Yeah, and soft and gentle.
Soft and gentle.
So Mars in Cancer is debilitated.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of like people don't know how to control their anger or their independence. The passion is also
more fighting in the home.
More fighting in the home.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, more passion, more fighting in the home. Also, like uncontrollable feelings.
Yes, uncontrollable feelings. Yeah.
Like I got frustrated by trying to put together that theme song.
Yeah.
It's like it's easy to get like that right now. So you have to have a lot of patience in this particular time.
Patience and love. It's a good medicine for any time. These prescriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, be more patient and loving. This is important. So we look up.
Yeah. So we got like I would say like a hardcore week of that. You gotta watch out.
Another week like this.
So what am I going to ask you about yoga? Because like yoga is not really temporal, is it? No, let me ask you a temporal question about yoga.
Okay.
So when I walk down the street,
yeah,
not so much in Japan, but let's say if I'm walking around, I see yoga studios with Pilates.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at you, I see like sadhu.
Mm.
So what's the difference with sadhu yoga and Pilates yoga?
I think it's like all cake with a different icing. The essence of it, no matter how it's wrapped, is still the same. So we always teach that like the physical science of yoga was first taught by Lord Shiva when he like manifested. He like was the one that instructed the Saptarishis on the top of the mountain just as the flood had receded and we had to go back down and re-civilize the natives. So when Shiva was doing this teaching, he was teaching all about the physical practices and these kind of things. So yes, it is like that, but the essence is the same.
I like that.
So as long as a human being is trying the practice with their attention, it will work. It's like a computer virus. Already it's been unlocked and it's doing its work on you. So it doesn't matter if it's wrapped in beer or plastic or naked, debaucherous things. Eventually, that will unravel itself, and the true essence will break through.
Do you think that same thing holds true for astrology?
I think that it probably it holds true to everything. I haven't studied everything, so I couldn't say it applies to everything, but I feel like it's like a universal principle.
Yeah, I think so.
Of life and everything. That kind of everything is going on at the same time anyway, and it will never really be destroyed or polluted, because as long as a kernel of it is somehow present from its original form, even if it seems polluted and mired, it automatically will be self-purifying. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. It just takes time and patience.
So we have nobody to gossip about then. I mean, we can't complain about people that are teaching astrology in a super poppy way or teaching yoga in a super...
Well, definitely the important thing about being alive in this time is that we can comment about these things, So some things that are off alignment, yeah, for sure you should comment about them and tell your opinion. Of course, in its essence, as long as
that's how they unravel.
That's how they unravel. It's true. Because if the essence is polluted properly, then it will not stand up to the scrutiny. So it's good to be scrutinous and reflect. Yeah, so we should reflect on our life and everything as much as possible.
And that can really happen well for us now at this time because of Saturn's conjunction with Ketu in its own sign.
Yeah.
I just actually, before you got here, I did a reading for somebody whose moon was right in between Saturn on one side and Mars on the other side. And the person is going through it. It's so interesting because if that's the case, then you're going to get an square aspect from Mars and a square aspect from Saturn on the same point.
So the moon is like the emotion, right?
Yeah, but that's also selling it short.
Selling it short. Because
your emotion is the core of who you are. So the emotion is based on your desire. If you fulfill a desire, then you have an emotion. If you have a happy emotion if you fulfill a desire. If you can't fulfill a desire, you have a sad emotion. Then the desires are based on opinions about what's desirable or not desirable. So the whole thing of emotion is wrapped up with desire. Desire is wrapped up with opinion. Opinion is wrapped up with subjectivity. From my point of view, this looks good or bad.
So that's like ego.
That's the moon. Ego, yeah. But the ego is the battery that's in that machine that's powering the subjectivity. It's actually the sun is the ego, but the moon is like the...
It's interesting to
thing
me
on that layer.
when I think about the moon under these kind of things, because also when you look at like the Buddhist tankas and you look at like a lot of their imagery and symbolism, the Buddha is always pointing to the moon as if it's like the way to the self, to unlocking the mystery of what you are. He's always pointing to the moon. He's like, don't look at me, like Bruce Lee says, don't look at me, don't focus on the finger, focus on where the finger's pointing. He's always pointing to the moon. And that's always like in all of the symbolism, that's kind of like that's the entrance to the liberation.
Do they ever explain what that means?
Well, they say that it means kind of it's like the moksha, not really the moksha, but the liberation of like unwinding yourself from the karmas and reflecting upon your true self. That's what the moon is in those pictures. So how does that apply any way to astrology, or is that just kind of a different take?
Yeah, well, the quality of a person's moon determines whether or not they can meditate. Right?
So there you go.
It's because you know, you have to do chitta vritti nirodha, right? To be able to do yoga, that's important to be able. Chitta is the moon.
Yeah.
Chitta or manas. Manas is the outer layer and chitta is the inner layer. So chitta vritti nirod means you have to hold on to the vrittis in the moon. Moon's vritti is to get bigger and get smaller. Right. Sometimes it's a crescent, sometimes it's full. Yeah. Vritti means how it changes and develops. So the emotions are always fluctuating bigger. You can't do yoga or meditation if you can't stabilize that.
It's interesting too how Lord Shiva always has the crescent moon on his head. As if he's always holding like the lapsed ego. Interesting. In that sense, right? It's like the minimum amount of light he can hold while keeping the balance.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Tapas.
Yeah, that's good. Now I have things I have to research.
Well, of course we need to research so many things.
Yeah.
You know? And in this topic about yoga, we both have researched a lot in our different fields.
Yeah.
But like when I talk to you, I always feel like I'm looking at like the same kind of level of practice and like scholasticism that I put into my work, I see you put into your work. But it's in totally different aspects of the same topic. And that's why I always feel like this kind of conversation is really cool, because we can look at each other and the different work and the different body of study. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, for example, in my studies, when I think of the moon, I think about the feminine part and like the softer sides.
Right.
And that's why I always relate in astrology to the emotional part of it, because we always have in us a balance of that sun and the moon.
Right.
And that's the preparation of yoga is all hatha, which is the sun and the moon, the controlling, balancing, harmonization of it. Yeah, the sun and the moon. So in this case, when we're talking about astrology, how does the sun like make a difference? Like we have our sun signs, and in the newspaper, that's what they always verify and show us the most is the sun sign, the sun sign, the sun sign. Is the sun sign somehow able to transcend a lot of these things because of its like power and its light in our solar system and in our day-to-day life?
Able to transcend?
Yeah, all of the things.
No, because the sun is dependent upon the planets.
Depending on the planets, yeah.
Dependent on it. So we have a solar system. Yeah. The sun represents the self, but it's not a self which is independent from its projections.
Right.
So the self which is independent from its projections doesn't get subjected to karma. So the self that's independent from projections doesn't get birth. Right?
Right.
It's not inside samsara. So it doesn't have an astrology chart. So there's this, that's not even a sun. That's like even when you do sun meditations with the Gayatri Yoga, you're not literally meditating on the sun.
The light behind the sun.
You're the original sun.
Bhargo devasmihi.
Right. So that ego or something is something which you find. But because you are that, you can figure out how to work with your planets. It's not really about transcending them or escaping them, because that's fine. The way they are is fine, and they're that way for a reason.
Pure acceptance. Yeah.
It's to figure out, I accept this situation as what it is, and this is me now. How do I make this good? How do I make this the thing that helps other people?
It makes me think about the fire pit I want to make on my land. I would love to do Gayatri fire things every day and do offerings.
Yeah.
In the traditional way that they used to do.
Maybe sometimes we should do like a on location episode.
On location. Yeah, we can, for sure. We can do a live fire sacrifice, try to do the chanting as properly as we can.
Yeah. What are we going to do next week? You're going to be in China?
Next week, I'll probably be in China, and we can talk with my friend Rasa, who's a musician and a kirtani in Shanghai, doing good work over there. He always says he's living in the middle of Mordor.
Oh, really?
Well, Shanghai is like that. It's a big commercial Chinese powerhouse that's very gray, not so green.
Mm.
And often you cannot see the landscape or very far, more than 20 feet ahead of you from the thickness of the air.
Wow.
It's pretty rough. I lived there for some years, picked up some Chinese, learned how to teach yoga in China. I go there often just to connect with the friends. And
You're going to stay for how long?
I'll be there only for 6 days in Shanghai and around Shanghai. We will have the next talk there.
And then after that you come back?
I come back again.
So we'll be back here.
And then I come again, and then I go off again the next week to Bali, and we can talk with another astrologer friend.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we can keep it going week to week.
Good.
Place to place.
Yeah, this is good. It's
Yeah.
a good length, I think.
This is good. Yeah.
You want to do more? You got more discussions?
Well, we can talk about anything. We can go on.
What should we talk about?
Yeah, about... well, I was also thinking a little bit about the different... Because after I look up, the next thing I do is I look at the horizon, right?
Nice.
Usually. So I look at the horizon, and when I see the horizon, I try to see about what's like currently going on and all of the panics of the world. All of them panicking because of our influence of the planets and whatnot, of course. And our own personal dramas. And also we talk about how you always say that sometimes it's like we're at the end of humanity, and in these last breaths or these last like spasms of life, we're all trying to like assimilate as many different karmic teachings as possible, right? Going through hell, so to speak. So even our world is going through lots of environmental changes and challenges.
Yeah, what is going on with these hailstorms? Did you see that?
There's so many things happening all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like it's snowing randomly in some places at this time when it shouldn't be.
But is it always like that?
I don't know. There's always chaos in the world.
Yeah.
And the scientists tell us that the Earth has gone through many extinction cycles, eon after eon, everything's changing, right? It's almost like our own, it's like our own emotional landscape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chaotic.
I just remembered something interesting that I forgot to say about the moon.
What's that?
With the Chittavritti Nero, the exaltation sign for the moon. You know what it is?
Exaltation of the exalted moon.
Yeah.
No, what is it?
Taurus.
Taurus. Oh, okay.
And so what is it about Taurus that makes the moon exalted?
Well, the Taurus I know is the emotional infant of the zodiac.
No.
No.
Why?
Somebody told me that once.
That's rude.
That's rude.
No. Taurus is Earth.
Yeah, Earth. Yeah, Earth, stable,
that's
unmoving.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, Earth and fixed.
Fixed. Yeah, fixed. Yeah.
But it's Venus's area. So it's got femininity and stuff which the moon can relate to, but it's got Earth,
hardness,
and fixedness,
toughness.
So the moon isn't totally in a foreign land.
Yeah.
It's got similarities with Venus, but it's got the stability. So that's the way to make the mind, the self, exalted, rise up, is to stabilize your emotions and feelings.
Absolutely. Emotional balance is so important on the path.
How do you do it?
How do we do it?
How would you do it? How would a yogi do it?
Well, through emotional practice. Well, first of all, I think about, as a yogi, like who can call themselves a yogi, first of all, but I try my best to live up to someone who could be a candidate. And all I can say is that we start with our duties, all of the duties you need to accomplish first, right? I mean, that's what maybe Krishna would point to in the Gita. Like, fulfill your duties, do your job properly, and all those jobs are whatever you do. For me, it would be like being a father and doing my job to earn money for my family, and then also to be a supportive, good influence on the children, and then try to be a good husband and be a good friend to my friends, and also to respect my own inner balance. Because if I'm not happy, my emotional balance is nothing. So, I need to make sure that I also have my good physical activity, physical practice. I need to sing a little bit every day. So I do some kind of mantra chanting. I need to sit every day and do some meditation. I need to eat every day. So I have to eat good food. I have to rest every day.
So emotional balance comes from regularity in your duties?
Yeah, regularity in the duties and balance in the life.
Yam niyam?
All of those things have to do. Yam niyam, from telling the truth to living the truth to self-discipline to cleanliness to study and self-study to surrender. All of these things are important in our everyday. From the moon to the sun. Yeah. Every day, day to day. On the time.
That's very interesting.
It is interesting.
Can I say why?
Yeah.
because the sun is the stability. The sun, wherever you see the sun in a chart, you were looking at the person's sense of stability and the center. The sun is the center of everything. So that's really interesting. The moon needs stability. The sun is to provide stability. The combination you were saying before, like you're trying to balance the sun and the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, and that also means not being too active or being too lazy. It's having a good balance between that. And it means, eating not too heavy or not too light. And having not too much fun, but not too little fun. Having not too much seriousness and too little seriousness. All of those things. And that's where it's cool, like in China, when these thoughts went into China, they became like the I Ching and all these different philosophies that also reflect that balance that needs to happen.
When you're in China, do people have any contact with their ancient culture at all, or is it totally modernized?
Due to the Cultural Revolution and due to lots of... we can talk about China forever.
I'm just curious.
It's a long history. But I could say due to lots of those events, and then also the modernization, modern world with its phones and its networks and corporate controls of networks, and the Chinese government has complete control of its people, for better and for worse, for both. So it's a bit of like a restrictive thing, but also very great. I see also people getting benefited, things changing for the better. It's interesting in the modern world. Of course, some people keep the tradition. One of my students, she became a nun. And a very special kind of nun that doesn't lay down. They only sit. So even when she's sleeping and when she's resting, she just sits. She sits up. She sits up. And they do chanting. And they do like this 1 month time period where they just walk around the temple chanting, not eating for like 30 days straight. No sleeping.
Wow.
So some people do maintain their ancient traditional way. For better or worse, I'm sure these people are going a little crazy. Not sleeping for a long time and sitting up, it's got to do wonders for your brain chemistry. Who knows what it's like for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Austerity. Tapas.
Austerity is a necessary part of anybody's life. If you don't have some austerity, then you're never going to be able to shake the bio lethargy that we accumulate from eating food, from anything. All of the stimulus we have, it all cakes on us like dust on the shelf. And if we don't do tapas, we can never shake the dust off. And the consciousness will never shine as bright as it could. So that's why it doesn't matter if you're like a great yogi or you're just a businessman or you're just a simple person living a simple life. You need a little bit of austerity depending on your capacity. Just enough to challenge your capacity. Just enough to break the sweat, to make the heat level go up a little. Something to make the heart beat. Little doki doki.
So if I need a little bit of austerity, why don't I take a lot?
You can take a lot, but it depends on you, because some people take a lot, they go crazy. I've had friends go insane. Lose their mind. And people who break their body as well. So you need to be tempered with some wisdom. Remember what your parents taught you, to play. They helped you to play a little bit and they gave you some love. It's not all about tapas. You got to be able to balance the total playful energy with the tapas. But you don't shut either side out. Otherwise you lose that balance, right? The lessons from our parents all the way up to our spiritual guru and beyond, they're all important. We need to take them into account. Yeah. I think that's the truth. It feels like that's right.
Yeah, well, before you were saying, don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Chapter 6, right?
Yeah, I guess I did, yeah.
So now it's the same thing with tapas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, that chapter 6 is really interesting on tapas. It divides tapas into vocal, mental, and physical tapas. So, and the different kinds of silence is a tapas, yeah.
Silence is a challenge, yes. It's a great challenge, mauna. Right?
Which we're not doing. We're doing
we're doing opposite.
We're doing the opposite.
We're doing Mona.
Yeah.
Opposite. But have you done Mona for any extended period of time before?
No.
It's very interesting. I've done retreats like 10 days straight. My first time I ever did Vipassana, I actually broke the silence. I took a vow of silence and I broke it on day 8. Because there was some cool like rocker. He was like an old rock guy and he was really interesting. And he was sitting there and I was sitting there outside in the walk area, and then he just said something, and then I just said something, and then we just broke our silence.
Ah.
But it was interesting to also watch the result of that, because somehow someone knew, even though no one was around. It was almost as if someone was like an all-present ear.
Wow.
Was listening to everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I've also gone through extended periods of serious silence as well. I like to talk though too.
That could be silent, but too many people are around.
Too many people around. And then I also miss singing and playing music. I can never do it too long. For some people, that's their destiny, to be silent in a mountain somewhere. Yeah, not for me. Maybe when I'm an old man at the very end.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
what we're supposed to do, right? The guys are supposed to go out and then stay out. And then the grandmothers come back at a certain point to be like the matriarch of the family and to like overlook the household. And the old man just supposed to go out and never stay in one place longer than 3 days. Yeah. Interesting, no?
You seem to be attracted to the idea.
Of course, a part of me has always been attracted to this idea. To be a proper like monk style and be a renunciate and full on everything. But practically speaking, when you have a family and you have to be in your right time. So my time now is this time.
Yeah.
And your time is too.
It sure is.
Yeah. In the thick of it. Kind of urban lifestyle.
Yeah. Those are actually our kids in the theme song. They're going, yeah.
Yeah. Those are our kids making the sounds.
Yeah.
Our girls playing together, making playful sounds. It's a good music backdrop. Many good songs have been made by remixing the sounds of children's voices playing and singing. Yeah. It has a natural attraction to the ear.
So why don't we leave it at this? Don't overload these guys with information, with gossip.
Too much gossip at the end.
So, but there's a couple of things we want to tell them, right? About the show. They can probably suggest some topics,
if
right?
you wanna have a question or you wanna say something and add something, you can record a video. You can
even just leave it in. First of all, you could just leave it in a comment.
Comments are great.
Right, leave a comment like I would love to see you guys. I would love to see you guys talk about this, or I have a question for Waylon, it's X, or I have a question for Vic, it's Y. If you feel like getting your face in the camera, I don't know if we can do this, but we'll see technically if we can do it with a live stream.
Ask a question or even just, give us a video message and then we'll go through the messages, pick one that we like and then just talk to it.
Yeah.
And respond and give our funky things.
So that's good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You missed it. It was off camera, but my daughter just came in to let me know that the time is up.
Okay. So time always comes
to an end.
So we say goodbye. Farewell, friends.
Should we leave them with the theme song, Outgoing?
Yeah.